Welcome to this segment of the program. Nice to have you here. Please, before you start, you're going to tell us your name. And in this part of the program, we'll be talking about things that are happening in Helsinki municipality. And you have 3 minutes to talk about Helsinki municipality situation on housing, municipal housing, work and employment, and cultural diversity and activities. So you can feel free to start at any of them. Once again, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's indeed a pleasure. My name is Isaac Yusuf. I'm also living in Helsinki. Now, let me start with the housing part. Obviously, we all know that Helsinki is a beautiful place, nice city. But regardless of that, if you think about 10 years ago in Helsinki, you can see that it's now more congested. And to be honest, I think most of the immigrants are the ones facing a lot of challenges when it comes to that because first and foremost, it's not everyone that can afford to buy a house here in Helsinki like Una Kotitalo. And when you look at also about the struggles of immigrants based on their income and all of that, so when they're living in an apartment, let's say for a private apartment, for example, Sato, most of the time it's very expensive, and only few people can even have the privilege to be able to like apply for the city apartment, which is ECA or some other ones. So in that aspect, I think most immigrants struggle a lot. And at the end of the day, you see like even when they try to do what they could because of the income they have. And when you think about family again, having children. So I felt it's not really convenient and comfortable for them. And I felt like because it's the capital where everyone wants to obviously move into to live in. And because of the complexity of the city now. So I felt as an immigrant person myself with the migrant children, it should be nice that at this moment that the government should try to build more houses, comfortable, convenient, and affordable for immigrants to be able to live comfortable and feel safe in the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And if I have to go to the next question, which was work and employment.
Yes.
Regarding that, I think also that sincerely, I don't want to use myself as an example. But I have a couple of friends because why I say I don't want to use myself as an example is that I came to Finland as a professional football player. So in that aspect, I wasn't struggling to get anything. And my job was really easy because my career actually paved ways for me to have good salaries. And even after I stopped playing football after the Olympics, I retired and have my children. And I easily got jobs. So I never have to go through like, you have to speak the language before you can apply it. But if you look at it now, things have changed a lot. Most people that come from different countries, I don't want to mention names because we all immigrants, we all face the same challenges. So I felt like when you come talk about the work and employment, the immigrants are the ones facing the challenges. And for example, they say like, okay, if you have to go get a particular job, even if you're a professional in your country of birth and come here to get a job, if you don't have the language skills, which actually kills your career, the motivation that brought you to the country. So in that aspect, it makes you struggle to get the job that you qualify for automatically, but because of that, you lose a lot of potentials, all because of the language aspect. So I felt like we should make it like more flexible that you don't have to go through a lot of struggle before you could get like a job that could put a food on your table. And also the employment aspect. Let me think from the students. You come here as a student, before you finish the study, you come to study, and then think about the job. How will you get a job, working experience whereby you cannot even speak the language? So at the end of the day, I feel like at this point, it's time for the government and we as an immigrant to support each other and see each other as a reflection because most of us come to this country on a platter of gold, while others struggle. So I felt it's not fair. So at this point, I felt like myself, why I put myself in front to be the candidate of this SMP is because I want everyone to benefit equally so that we can all feel comfortable and feel safe in the country where we come to live and survive. And I think the last question, sorry, can you remind me?
Cultural diversity and activities. Unfortunately, you have less than a minute for this, so okay. Sorry for that.
Okay, I would like to cut that short. Yeah. I think that's actually my strength because let me say, for my own job as a professional football coach, in diversity, I think we don't have a lot of diversity. Because when you see a child that is born with a misrace or the parents are like, from Africa, we want to play football, for example, and the parents don't have the money to pay for this kid. Imagine leaving these children that don't have a lot of place to go for safe home or activities area because the parent cannot afford to pay the money for football training. So this child that have potential end up staying at home because the parent cannot afford it. So I think the country, in Helsinki, we should build more activities for youth youth development, support the parents, and also let the immigrant children and the migrant children to have the privilege that the same way the Finn have, so that we all can feel the equality where we preach about, because we have to practice what we preach. Thank you very much, and I'm so sorry that my time is up.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful, and we are happy to have you, and I think the world is ready to see what you want to do, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Hello, and welcome to this part of the program. So please, could you tell us your name, and we'll move ahead after that to this segment. We'll be talking about your municipality, Helsinki, the things that are happening around. We have 3 things to talk about. We have to talk about municipal housing, and also we'll be talking about work and employment, and then we'll be talking about cultural diversity and activity. So thank you very much. You have 3 minutes. Now is your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's a really nice platform and a very nice experience to be here. My name is Bhavna Sharma. I'm a proud resident of Helsinki city, and I've been here now 11 years in Finland, and all my stay in Finland I have stayed in the city center in Helsinki, and Helsinki has changed. It was different pre-COVID and also post-COVID. Now it's a completely different city. I've seen many places which developed, which didn't exist earlier, like Kalasatama, Reddy, Tripla, how they have filled in the sea and destroyed quite a part of the city. And when it comes to the municipal housing in Helsinki, I think, or what I have experienced, is the housing in here is quite segregated. You know, people are segregated maybe based on their nationalities, or they find housing, okay, this is the place from where maybe my cultural people belong more. You know, for example, there are certain areas in the east Helsinki or in the west Helsinki where people get segregated. Also, it's not easy to find affordable housing in Helsinki because the prices are pretty high. And apparently, being an immigrant, you end up in an apartment which is not a decent size if you have kids, because the kids need bigger houses, so you really can't afford a omakotitalo here. And post-COVID, or let's say post the war, the prices in Helsinki areas have really skyrocketed, so it's really difficult to find a decent housing, and that's the reason why people are moving away from the city center or from the city of Helsinki to Espoo and Vantaa. So because I represent the Greens, so we Greens have this policy that we want to save nature, so we do not want to have a lot of construction in the place where already there is construction. So we try to conserve nature or forest wherever there is something. And another major aspect is that we want to have more green areas for kids, you know, to create more greener space for kids, especially who are in the age of 10 to 14 years, because there used to be those kind of parks and play areas where those kids could play, but now we just have the parks for little kids, and then we have the Nuorisotalo. So the kids in between the 10 to 14 years of age actually don't fit anywhere, and they end up using more smartphones and tend to rely more on the electronics. So that's not a good thing for their health. So I think it's part of the municipal housing that, you know, we should design the spaces in such a way that there's enough green area and an open area to breathe and for rehabilitation for all the age groups. The second one is about the cultural diversity. The work situation.
Any of them.
And any of them, yeah. So, as you know, Helsinki has the maximum number of immigrant population in the entire country. We have a lot of English-speaking people, and when you see the equation between the working people and the unemployed people, I think Helsinki is the highest at the moment. The reason being that we do have integration programs, but they don't tend to really gel well with especially with the spouses. And with the current recession that we have, which is, I think Finland has its worst recession in the past century. So it's quite a bad situation because people are not getting the kind of jobs they're really trained for. Like when I came here 11 years ago, I did have a good job, but because of the recession and the way Finland is changing, you know, the economy is changing depending how the policies are imposed on the people. I think that's something that's really concerning the immigrant population quite a lot. So people are not ending up in the kind of jobs they look forward to. So people tend up to be entrepreneurs, you know, which they are not prepared to. Like
I'm sorry to cut you short, just about 30 minutes, 30 seconds.
For the cultural part.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. But there should be like somebody.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the cultural part, I think Helsinki is becoming very inclusive. They do have a very strong cultural connect. I've seen it evolving over the years. And they do celebrate. I mean, we celebrate all the cultural aspects, and the kids do enjoy different sports, and we celebrate different festivities. For example, just last week there was a great event from India, and all the public schools and daycares, they served Indian Bollywood. They were serving Indian food and playing Bollywood music. So there is definitely more need to have more cultural inclusion in the city, but it's definitely a fantastic place. But I think we need to work more on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was nice having you as part of the program. So we'll be talking about Helsinki municipality, which you belong, and we'll be talking about municipal housing. We'll be talking about employment and work, and then we'll be talking about diversity and different cultural activities. So you have the floor, 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, you invite me here in this platform, and I have to opportunity to talk with people and send my message. My name is Tassi Rodrick, and I came in Finland 1997 as an immigrant here, and after that I start my own here working life, and after that I am start the business. Now in the 10 year I am doing the business. The main topic is you have the housing, because I have lived here in the more than 27, 28 years, and I know this problem is why this problem is increased. Of course, international situation is also all the world. Now the recession here is after the COVID is also, but there is also the wrong policies of the current government. They made the wrong policies about, they made houses, but houses are before they are also giving the chance, for example, the small companies who are building homes and giving more homes and equally. But now they make very expensive houses in Helsinki. The Helsinki area is, of course, we can't get more land here. This Espoo and Vantaa is a bigger. They have more land, but here we do less land and very expensive houses. They made it, and after that, this started problems. And also, they did not give more money to those companies, those who are also building houses. That is also big problems. And the second one, you are about unemployment. Here's what is going on. And because of that, I saw, because I am a business doing, I have my own restaurant, and many people come to us to working. And that is also because in the Helsinki, this municipality, and also the metropolitan area, government must have to young people more jobs, but they are not giving to them in that way. Before the same, because they are giving this is settling things for the young, the students. They're very easy to get the jobs. And so also the language barriers, I think now is the immigrants here all the times, they are growing, but then language barriers is a very difficult to them. And we want to have English also to them when they apply the job. And second one, third one, you have, for example, immigrants about this, you can say cultural things. And of course, in this city, we have a lot of immigrants living in this city. And here, everybody who's come from abroad, they must have right, and they must have that place. They can make their own events, like we have a last 1 week ago here in the Eid event, for example, after Ramadan. People are very good integration one to another and saying everything. So this is my message to. Thank you.
Please, you tell us your name, and we'll be talking about municipal situation in Helsinki. We'll be talking about municipal housing. We're talking about work and employment, and also cultural diversity and activities. You have the floor.
All right, thank you for having me. My name is Dembwana, representing the Social Democratic Party. When we talk about housing, Heka is one of the biggest landlords, is the biggest landlord in Helsinki. And because of that, they were able to afford reasonable housing for people of Helsinki. But because of the inflation and so many things going on, the price of the houses have gone up. Now they basically as much as private sectors. So I think one of the biggest challenges now that people with low salaries are facing problems to pay their rent. I think Helsinki should focus on building affordable houses for people with low income. When we talk about land, it is important to save the nature. I think, for example, when you come to east side of Helsinki, you have, for example, Mellumaki, Itäkeskus, Kontula, that Helsinki should focus on building like the metro area. Hence, there are buildings there, but they're old. They can like demolish them and build them or renovate them in a sense that it doesn't cost the city so much money. That it will be less money to renovate those houses than build expensive houses whereby they'll cost more. So when it comes to work and employment, youth unemployment is one of the biggest. I was reading, I think Helsinki is having from between 8 and 9% unemployment at the moment. Of course, most of them are people with immigrant backgrounds, basically language barriers. I think people should focus on learning Finnish language, obviously, because we live in Finland. It is important to emphasize people, especially youth. Because when you come here, you want to live for a longer time, it's easier like to speak English, but of course it is to encourage people to to speak Finnish or Swedish. It is very important. It is vital so that it will be easier for people to integrate into society. So diversity and cultural diversity. Of course, Helsinki organized this thing of Maailmankylä, for example, Maailmankyläs, whereby you have like people from different parts of the world mixed up together, learn about each other's culture, food, and so on and so on. I think that's very important. Of course, you have African Day also. I think Helsinki should have those kind of programs, like whereby people can mingle together, get to know each other. Then you have this segregation of kind of like ennakoluulo between different kind of societies to avoid those kind of things.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and welcome to our program. For the Espoo municipality, we have 3 key areas that really affect the residents here. Mostly housing, work and employment, culture and diversity. What is your take on that? So kindly tell us who you are, the party you are presenting, and the take.
Hey, so my name is Owen Hoppe-Kato. I'm representing the Greens, number 22 in Espoo municipal election. I moved to Finland now almost 9 years ago from the UK. Firstly, talking about housing, well, we need to be building more housing. We have a growing population in Espoo, a growingly international population in Espoo, and we need to ensure that we're building the housing. But at the same time, we are needing to ensure sustainability, that we are not sacrificing Espoo's beautiful nature for that housing. The housing has to be multiple types, and the housing has to be tall rather than just spread out. A city that is healthy is not a city that is segregated. So we need to ensure all types of housing are coming and those houses are mixed together. That also saves in future when an immigrant resident can ask their neighbour for help instead of using city services. Talking about employment, well, I work for a trade union, so it's a topic close to my heart. Now that the employment services are at local level, we need to ensure that we are using the B-form in a way that is giving fast and efficient employment services for someone who is facing a 3-month or 6-month deportation if they're unemployed. And those services now are at city level, so we can do them better. We also need to make sure that public jobs are available with a lower language barrier, so that English is a pathway to learning Finnish. Finally, on the integration, on the cultural side, of course, as I just said, English is a pathway to learning Finnish. Everyone wants to integrate, everyone wants to learn Finnish, but English has to be present enough that someone can find their place in Finland before being expected to learn the language to a native level. We need to celebrate diversity, celebrate that we have a city that is now 1/6 non-residents or non-citizens. Celebrate the fact that we're only going to get more international in the future, and have parties and events and these physical activities that bring people together. People aren't going to mix if they aren't seeing each other, if they aren't meeting each other. So let's build an Espoo that is truly for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome for our platform and for the Espoo municipality. I know you've interacted with many residents and you know the key challenges that our residents are facing. Mostly housing, that's part of it. Work and employment, it's also another one. And we have culture and diversity. The people will really want to know what is your take on those three key areas. So kindly tell us who you are, the party you are presenting, and your take on those three key areas.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Mao. I'm representing Kespusta. My candidate number is 137. In regard to the issue at hand, basically, I took a bit of something because I'm a policy person as a perspective. So, regarding the housing issue in municipality, I came here 7 years ago, and my own observation is that there has been a lot of progress in my municipality, and the municipality have engaged in series of development and with a thoughtful action when each and every time the city is about to implement a policy when it comes to it. Because we are very conscious in terms of green issues, in terms of sustainability. These are the priority for the city. My city is one of the leading city in terms of sustainable development. So we make a lot of progress, but every city have challenges. Likewise, my city is not an exception as well. So those challenges, we try to work around to solve the issue in my city. But as a city that is fast growing, as one of the candidates said, the city is, I was reading something about a bit of the growing population of our city. One of our headaches in that city is the fast growing population of immigrants. So it's really a problem. But the city is working to mitigate that, which is, there's a possibility for that. And then you move to the second issue is work and employment. And in that perspective as well, city has made progress. Because I see progress in most of the things that the city is doing. And the leadership is working in the face of the the global impact that is affecting everybody in terms of employment and the other issue. But we can do more. We cannot be complacent to say, oh, we have arrived. Yeah. So my city is striving to do better, and I believe in this coming election, getting the right people there, we can break those barriers and take out those bureaucracies and get back to work and take our city to where we want the city to be. Finally, on a cultural aspect of it, diversity is the strength of our city. Espoo is one of the most diverse cities in Finland, and always progress. Recently, we just allocated something huge budget for this coming summer. That if you walk on a countryside, you can sense it. That city is making a progress in terms of that. So there's nothing to say in terms of negative about the city. The city is doing great, but we can improve. We can be better. Thank you.
How are you? Good, thanks. Today to talk about Vantaa, about the ongoing elections and stuff, participating. So we like to talk about the municipal housing, work and employment, and cultural diversity and activities.
Okay, thank you so much for having me around. I'm Coach Otieno. I'm a district court juror and a registered nursing student. I'm on the party Kiitos, I'm in the center party, and I'm going in for the municipal elections. My number is 149, and the county election 2287. Now, talking about housing. Vantaa is fast increasing and fast growing, and I think it's important that we make sure that we have houses that relate to all the sizes. Immigrants, we know we have many children, we have 5, we have 4, we have 6, so it should be easy for each and everyone in Vantaa to be able to have such houses, not only small houses. We don't want families of 6, 7, and 4 having small houses, so houses for everybody. Now, going down to employment. Yes, most immigrants, I'm sticking on immigrants because the issue is with us. 20% of Vantaa community is immigrants. Now, immigrants, before moving into Finland, most of them are educated, they have a certain level. Now, we should ensure that whatever they studied back home, I was a lawyer, I should be able to be employed as a lawyer and not anyone pushing me into doing cleaning or stuff like that. So those are the areas we need to correct. Now, talking about cultural diversity, you know, when you merge diverse, when a municipality is diverse culturally, it gives best results. Now, our schools, they should ensure that in our schools, our immigrant kids get enough Finnish language. Mathematics, their parents don't know, they are not used to, or maybe the language is difficult. Schools should make provisions for that, okay? Now, the next thing is that what are we going to do? Hobbies. Hobbies should be, the prices of hobbies should be actually brought really down, because immigrants, we really don't have much. Ice hockey, swimming are very important hobbies, but they're expensive. Not all of us are capable of doing that. So they should ensure that this diversity should be felt in all the areas. Those are just the few areas that I'll touch. And I think Vantaa, having me, will have all these things solved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Yes.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
We are here today to talk about some of the issues concerning the participants in the Vantaa. So there are 3 things that we have to talk about: the municipal housing, work and employment, and cultural diversity and activities.
Okay. Thank you for having me here. My name is Ruth, and I came in Finland back 2014. I'm a nurse by profession. And talking about housing in Vantaa, I think it's very clear that Vantaa is very growing at a very high rate. We are having a shortage of affordable houses. It's a big problem for big families, like what my colleague said. We need the municipal to build more houses and affordable houses. We have a lot of private sector building, but they are not affordable for us. We cannot afford it. So that is clear. Also taking into concern that we have Vantaa, we have very good luonto, and we need to maintain it. And also we need to integrate the suburbs and the
Okay, you can use the language.
Yes. The next topic was
Work and
unemployment. Yes, we are having a big problem, and I think this is where my heart is, because the biggest percentage of unemployment is among foreigners or immigrants in Vantaa. So in my opinion, I want that we have a plan, a better plan for integration. Every time that a person comes here in Finland, we have a plan that is planned for everybody in one pot, that you have to go through the same. We are different, we learn differently. We need plans for individual plans. And then
cultural diversity
and activities. I think we are very multicultural in Vantaa. We have multicultural activities, and we can do better. We can increase hobbies. We can increase activities for the youths to avoid the youth's mental health and all that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice to have you.
Colleagues, it is my pleasure to be here to listen to the candidates and the statements that made regarding the 3 important topics like the housing, unemployment, and also the diversity and multiculturalism. I think these three areas are areas which is very interesting for the migrant community. Actually, those who selected these topics, it is very logic and it is very important for migrant background communities. So I think the candidates rightly pointed out to the challenges that migrant communities facing in these three areas. And on the unemployment, we hear that there are some discriminations even on the names, meaning that the application of the person, job seeker, is going to apply for a job. When the names are like a little bit different from the Finnish, then there is discrimination there, and also on the application on housing and everything. So these are the challenges that the migrant background community are facing there. Here in Finland, especially in the cities like Helsinki, Vantaa, and Espoo, which are the big cities, and there are a lot of migrant background communities are living there. So one thing that was not pointed out, that how these challenges could be addressed, how these challenges could be brought on the discussion table. So it is very important for the migrant background community to have their voices, to have their representations there in the municipalities, and also on this county council. So if they would like to address these topics, so they need to have someone to represent their concerns, to represent their demands, to represent what they are facing, what is a challenge for them living in this city. So it comes through the political participation of migrant background community. It is very important for the migrant communities to take this public participation serious. Their votes are matter. It can influence. Even a single vote can change. So if we would like to bring these challenges of unemployment, challenges of multiculturalism, and challenges of housing that we are facing, so we need to come, we need to turn out, we need to come and vote for the candidates who are addressing this challenge. So this is one. The second an important part, which is multiculturalism and diversity, I think the language is a very important component of a culture. We can preserve a culture, we can respect the diversity, we can respect the multiculturalism if our children, our family preserve their modern language. So preserving the modern language, it is very critical for preservation of multiculturalism and diversity. So we need a lot of resources for the modern language, because in the schools we can see that one day in a week it is 1 hour or 1 hour and a half for this modern language, and this is not enough. And I can see that in the case of my children, that they could not learn. If, for example, one day in a week for 1 hour, they are going not even in their school, they are going to another school, and they are not learning. So we need the municipalities that to dedicate more resources for the language, and also to respect the multiculturalism. And the third point, which is very important, that is creating the sense of belonging among the migrant community. If you see that the migrant background communities are less interested to participate in public affairs, because they feel that they do not belong to the community. So this is very, very negative point. So where does this come from? How we can promote the feeling of belonging among the migrant community, that they belong to this community? It comes through the recognition. We have to recognize the diversity. We have to recognize the strength of the migrant background communities, and we should respect and recognize that no matter what language we speak, no matter what is the color of our skin, no matter what is the religious we believe, no matter where we came from, we live in this society, so we belong to this society. So we all should try together for the progress and for development of the society. And this comes through the recognition. And we hope that this recognition coming through the policies, through the decision makers, and through the authorities. And we hope that the authorities and those who are making the policies just consider this issue. Thank you very much. I would like to say here that I am just speaking here on behalf of myself, representing the so many hazard and cultural industries. Of course, I am working in Munich, but I'm here not to represent, and not to talk on behalf of Munich. Thank you.
Il y a les élections municipales du comté. Donc tout simplement, c'est ce qui se passe, il y a plusieurs, quelques partis. Et aussi ce qui se passe, c'est que le message qu'ils essayent de faire, c'est de vraiment que les immigrants qui arrivent en Finlande, qu'il y ait une meilleure intégration, et aussi de lever, tous les issues par rapport au logement, par rapport à la langue. Donc voilà, c'est tout ce que je peux dire. Voilà. Est-ce que c'est assez clair?
Merci.
Merci.